Hello everyone, it's Nick from Claret and Booze. Welcome back to the channel, and this is my daily ramble. First of all, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy what you see, please drop a like on the video, and why not subscribe? Okay, well, we all know what we're going to talk about today, don't we? So things have kind of picked up in the last few days in terms of some conversations that we've been having and debates on Twitter and stuff like that. And we're still getting some people, not many, there's still some people that are calling people that are Moyes out. It's a brigade. It's a brigade. It's jumping on a bandwagon. I'm not ready to jump on the bandwagon yet. Now, look, I find that quite insulting, to be quite honest, because the way that I see it is that some people, they can analyse a situation and they can see patterns emerging and make decisions for themselves, not based on emotion or sentimentality. And others, they do, you know, and that's fine. I think if it's for sentimental reasons and you're really, really grateful for what Moyes has done, I can understand that. I can, but I don't think that's always the case. I think with some people, it's just pig-headedness. It's stubbornness. It's almost like because they've been banging this drum about how David Moyes is going to succeed. Now, everyone that's jumping on the Moyes out train, apparently, this brigade, they don't know what they're talking about. It's poisonous, it's toxic, and now they've backed themselves into a corner. And they're just being stubborn now, to be quite honest. Now, let me clear this up first of all, okay? The reason why this is not a knee-jerk reaction. Let me just run through the stats. I've run back. We often talk about the last sort of great win and good performance at our place, not Upton Park, was the 7th of November 2021, and that was that magnificent 3-2 win against Liverpool. Right, now since then, if I just review the tail end of that season, not taking into account this season, since then, since that point, for the tail end of that season, we played 27 games. We got 33 points from 81 available, 9 wins, 6 draws, and 12 losses. Okay? This season, as we all know, 14 games, 14 points from 42 available. We've won 4, we've lost 3, we've drawn 8. Now, when you combine the start of this season and the tail end of last season, stretching back a calendar year, that is 47 points from 123 points available, with just 13 wins from 41 games, which is it's a 30% win ratio, which is shit. It's rubbish. In the last 21 games, if you combine this season and the tail end of last season, we've only won 6, which is less than a 30% win ratio. Okay, this isn't a knee-jerk reaction. This is just some people that can see patterns emerging. We could see there was no change. This has been an extended run of bad form. Now, I understand that what David Moyes did was good. He set us up for 2 very, very good seasons. Well, half a good season. We finished well, and we had the European run. But without that European run, I don't think he'd have made it through the summer. I think he would have been replaced. So that's my opinion, to be quite honest. But yeah, in like I say, in the last 21 games, we've just won 6. Now, if you look back at those games that we've won, the one from how many was it last year? So we won, was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So from the last 7 games of last season, we beat Norwich, who are already relegated. We battered them 4-0. Okay. This season, we've beaten Wolves, whose manager went and got the bullet the next day. That's kind of the situation that they were in. We beat Villa, similar situation. We won. We was lucky to win that. It was a lucky deflected goal. And then Gerrard went and got the sack. Not long after that. We then went and beat Bournemouth and Fulham. And I think all of us would hold our hands up and admit they were 2 very underwhelming performances. We were lucky to get anything from, and we were given a helping hand from VAR. There have been no convincing wins, really, against anyone of note in the league for a long time. And when you factor in the fact that we've gone out and spent 180 million in this summer window, and that's the 3rd highest spend in the world. That's the 3rd most money spent from any club in world football we spent this summer, okay? Now, when you factor that in, how is it a knee-jerk reaction Seriously, give your heads a wobble. It's not a manhunt. It's just that some people are using their eyes. They don't judge things with sentimentality, and you're still getting it now. You're still getting people sugarcoating it, thinking that he's going to turn it around, thinking that this is going to happen. What are you even basing that on? You know, it's not a manhunt. I don't hate David Moyes. I don't like him as a manager at all. I don't think that this is his type of game. I think what David Moyes is a problem fixer. I think that's what he is. I think that's what he was at Everton for 10 years. He never had a pot to piss in when he was at Everton. So he's constantly having to cobble players together and scrimp and scrape. The minute he gets thrown into a situation like at Man United where he's got an embarrassment of riches and loads of players to choose from, he starts to struggle. We're seeing the same thing now. He doesn't know what to do with these players. He hasn't got a clue. And that is because I've said it time and time again, not every manager is suitable for every type of role. He's done a brilliant job. He can't do this next stage. He can't. Now, even if we do somehow go and get a reaction and a result against Leicester, which could well happen, David Moyes, don't forget it because it's key. The statement that came out from the board, that is key. That proves that there's a wobble. You know, they are looking at his situation now. He's under serious pressure. We were told a few weeks ago that there was money to spend in January. Now we're being told that there's not, which basically means we're not giving him any more money. And I'm not surprised because look at what's happening with the investment that they've already made. You know, 80 million that he spent on Scamacca and Paqueta looks like it could turn out to be two flops again. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that they're not going to back him with any more money. I wouldn't give him another fucking penny, I've got to be honest. Not until he's proved that he can get something out of these players that he just bought. If he's not going and buying a gem like Dawson for 2 million from Watford, you give him, if he's got to do any more than that, he struggles. And also, when you look at the bad run of form that I've just spoken about, you look at the bad run of form and you couple that with all of the frustrating decisions that he makes week after week after week, which we can all see are wrong, which means that we can attribute this bad run to David Moyes. It's almost self-inflicted. It's defiant. It's arrogant what he's doing, you know, refusing to drop Souček. I've heard people say, oh, you can't just blame Moyes. You've got to blame these underperforming players. He's the one who's fucking picking these underperforming players. That's David Moyes. They shouldn't be in the team at the moment. Bowen shouldn't be in that team at the moment. He shouldn't. He doesn't offer anything. You know, Souček should have been pulled out a long time ago. But he's still playing them. Fabianski gives us, great shot stopper. But he's preventing us being able to play out from the back. It's bizarre that we're trying to play out from the back when you've got Fabianski, Zuma and Dawson, who are three non-footballing players. Very good defensively at what they do, but they are not the players that you use if you want to play out from the back. And playing at the back is what we tried to do against Palace, and then we got caught out, didn't we? Shitty pass from Dawson. Kehrer, like I say, shouldn't have even tried to control it, but he did. Messed it up. Bang, goal. Why are we doing that? It's weird. We've got players. Half of our players struggle to pass sideways and backwards, let alone make progressive passes. And we've got players like Paqueta, who, like I said in the post-match review, popping up in loads of areas of the pitch, always in pockets of space, wants the ball. He ain't getting it because we ain't got no one that can find him with a progressive pass. We just haven't got that in the team. And people are sort of picking on the likes of Declan Rice. Well, Declan Rice can't keep carrying us through. Declan Rice, Paqueta, Scamacca, they're class players. They need to have good players around them. We can't just keep on expecting these players to drag us through every game. We can't expect VAR decisions to keep on helping us. We can't expect being able to ignore shit performances because we got a win, which is what's happened in a few games this season. And that performance against Crystal Palace was nothing different. It was no worse than what we've seen several times this year. Several times. So I really don't know what these people are talking about when they say, I'm not ready to jump on the bandwagon yet. It's like it's dirty to identify that the manager is fucking choking. And it's just obvious to me. It's blatant. So for me, like I said on the last one, you know, it's fine. If you want to stick with Moyes in, stick with Moyes in. But make an argument for the man. Try to make that argument without calling out people and guilt-tripping people about being Moyes out. You shouldn't be Moyes out. Think of his feelings. Think of what he's done for us. You know? And that's the other thing as well. All of these people that say the reason that I'm sticking with David Moyes is because he saved us from relegation twice. I mean, for a start, when he saved us from the last relegation battle, he came in, we were 17th. There was loads of the season left. He didn't peel us off the bottom of the fucking table. We weren't like 10 points adrift. We weren't even in the relegation zone when he saved us last time. He had an absolute embarrassment of players that were underperforming at the time. We had a fucking good squad. But yes, he did the job. We got through. We finished the season well. That's fine. I accept that. But don't make out like he's done a miracle job with a shit bunch of players, because he didn't. He didn't. But they will refer to that. They will refer to that. And they'll ignore the fact that the 2 good seasons that we had were freak seasons. They were. The COVID seasons were odd. And that's not me taking anything away from it. I loved it. It was brilliant. It brought all of us a little bit of joy. In lockdown, when football came back, and that is part of the reason why we love this team, because a lot of us were struggling. I know I was in lockdown. And we performed brilliantly in that period. David Moyes was the COVID king. He was a COVID king. He kind of really made the most of that situation when other clubs were struggling, because that is what was happening. It was fucked up, and we had two good finishes off the back of it. The fact of the matter is, when the world started to kind of get back into a normal state again, which was from that Liverpool game there, you've seen the results have dropped off. This is normality now with David Moyes. It just is. Winning isn't what he does. Even though, he coined that phrase himself. Why he does things like that, I don't know. So again, why are people feeling like they have to call out others for? I'm not calling people over to Moyes in. I'm not. I'm just speaking my mind, and I always will. I always will. I don't follow the crowd. I never do, and that's why for probably 4 to 6 weeks, I've had nothing but sort of people. Shutting you down or trying to shut me down. And that is what you get. But I don't care. I don't follow the crowd. I don't go with a popular opinion. I go with my opinion. And that is what it's been. And I'll always be open and honest. And the fact of the matter is, I've not been clouded with sentiment because of what David Moyes offered us. I haven't. I've just seen it for what it is. And when you look at the numbers, it just confirms. It confirms that you're right. It does. There is no argument. There's no argument. Like I say, the only argument is from these people that say he saved us from relegation, he got us a 6th and 7th place finish, which is historical. But what they won't let you do is connect a long run of bad results from this season and the tail end of last season. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't connect 2 seasons. So you've got to write off the tail end of last season. You've got to ignore the fact that the only reason we got a 7th place finish was because we started fucking on fire at the start of that season, and then we fell off a cliff. And then other teams were underperforming, and that is the reason we managed to maintain that 7th place finish. That is it, okay? And like I say, you can't take anything away from that, even though I kind of am with what I'm saying, but I'm just being honest. Those were 2 weird seasons. They were. This is normal now. We're back to normality. And David Moyes is petrified of the Premier League. And he's petrified of. He's no good with a weight of expectation on him. He likes to be a problem fixer. He likes to pat himself on the back. He likes to be the underdog. That's where he's comfortable. That's why he didn't want to spend money in January. He didn't want to spend money in January. Because there would have been expectation on him to achieve more than probably what he thought he could achieve. That's why he didn't want to spend money this summer. Because I don't believe he has spent money this summer. I believe something else has happened there, and players have started flying through the door, and it's because that man was dragging his heels, because he just wanted to keep the same group and try and keep us at a level where David Moyes is comfortable. Well, I'm sorry, West Ham have outgrown you. This group of players that we've gathered now, it doesn't suit the manager anymore, and it is undoubtedly time to move on, irrespective of what happens against Leicester, because like I was about to say earlier on, we could see a good performance. If he's got anything about him at all, he's under severe pressure. If he's got anything about him, he'll just throw the kitchen sink at that game. We'll see Scamacca and Antonio up front. We'll see all sorts. We'll see a really attacking game. And we could go out. We could even batter Leicester. But make no bones about it, that is literally, even if that was to happen, that is a one-off, because the minute that David Moyes is comfortable and the minute that the pressure is off of him again, he will revert to where he is happy in the football world, and that's playing the style of football that he plays. That's what he believes in. This is kind of, I reckon he'll look at Leicester like he looks at the last 15 minutes of a game against Man United when he's 1-0 down. This is kitchen sink time. If he doesn't throw the kitchen sink at this game, then I've lost all hope for him. I've got to be honest, because he's got to get a result out of this one. He's got to. And if we sit back against against Leicester, then we will get beat and beat quite badly, because we've got players in that team, unlike Bowen. If you saw Maddison last weekend, that guy is doing everything he can to secure a place on the plane to the World Cup. They've really picked up. They're playing good football. And that's the difference between us and Leicester. When people say, oh, well, look, Leicester stuck with Brendan Rodgers. Look at them now. They never changed their ethos. Their ethos has always remained the same. They were always playing the same style of football as they always have done, but it wasn't working at the start. They've continued doing it, and it's good football. So it's more palatable to watch when it isn't working, similar with Leeds and stuff like that. But when you play negative, downbeat football and you don't get results, it's not going to last. No one's going to be happy with that. The only way you can get away with setting up the way that David Moyes sets up, and the way that the likes of Antonio Conte sets up at Spurs, is if you get success. You have to get success. You've got to offer the fans something. You know, if you're not offering them entertainment, you've got to at least give them wins. We've got to take something away from a match day. But yeah. So look, I was going to do a piece on potential managers that are coming in. That will follow. I'm not going to do that now. I'm not going to do that now at all, because I thought I would just react publicly to people that have been reacting publicly to me. So yeah, that's what I've done. Like I say, there's some really good Twitter feeds out there. I'm not going to be. I think it might be a little bit disrespectful to start talking about new managers now, even though I've done that in the past. And the reason I say that is because I think David Moyes' number is up anyway. So we're going to have plenty of time to talk about new managers, even though I hope that, you know, they've got their succession planning on point and they're already doing the right thing, and they're talking about his successor now, which no doubt they are. There's been board meetings called after that game at the weekend. He's going to be asked some serious questions, and so he should be, because we can't afford. I've said it before. We can't afford to have another situation with Scamacca and Paqueta, and those players have gone backwards since they've come in. You're talking about bedding players in, transitioning. They're regressing. They ain't getting better. They're getting worse, because Scamacca can't impersonate Antonio. Yeah, that's not the player that we bought. Same as Haller. Same thing. No difference. So, yeah, I think the writing's on the wall. I don't care what the board say. Ultimately, we do tend to react slower than every other club, as we've seen. Southampton have gone. Wolves have gone and got Lopetegui. Aston Villa have gone and got Emery. And that's another thing as well. When people say, oh, you can't get Tuchel, you can't get Poch, you can't get Thomas Frank. I'm fucking sorry. If Villa can go out and get Emery and Wolves can go out and get Lopetegui, yes, we can. Yes, we can. These managers are looking for work, and we are a good project. So, providing we're willing to pay the manager the right money and back them, they will come. It's as simple as that. So, and in any case, that question, that's another thing that people say to you before I go, well, who are you going to bring in then? If Moyes goes, who are you going to bring in? I'm not bringing anyone in. That ain't my problem. That's not my job. That's down to the club to identify a suitable replacement to bring someone in. That's down to them. It's also down to them to identify that this isn't working. They've got to move on. I'm just stating the obvious as far as I can see it. I don't have myself down as a fucking genius. All I'm doing is I'm relaying to you in words what I'm seeing with my eyes. And I have been saying that for about 6 weeks. What happens next? I don't know. I'm excited about it though, because... And I think a lot of people are excited about it, because what we've been watching has been shit. Imagine if we lose against Leicester and we've got all that bad feeling around the club, and then we go into a 6-week break and they don't act, and we've got to come back to that, and we've got Arsenal and Brentford when we come back. Imagine the bad feeling, the misery. You know, no one's going to be looking forward to the restart. No one is. And it all matters to West Ham. You know, they're struggling to sell tickets more than what they were before. People ain't spending as much money in club shops as what they were before. They're not selling shirts like they were. So this is all going to be highlighted. People like Kretinsky have come in now. It's not all down to Sullivan. There's going to be other people that have got to say now. So I think his race has been run. And I will say it again, and it's not me being condescending. Thank you for what you did. You did a good job. But that's it. I think we just need to move on before all of that goodwill that David Moyes has built up with our fan base is destroyed and everyone starts fucking disliking him. Because I tell you what he can't do. He can't keep his mouth shut. And he's already started doing well, he's always been arrogant, but what he did in reaction to the fans being defiant against him the other day when they weren't happy because Ben Rama got pulled off, and then he came out and said what he said in the post-match interview. Oh, mate. I'm telling you now, don't go toe to toe with our fan base. Don't do it, because it won't end well. It really won't. Ask Sam Allardyce. Okay. But anyway, look, that's it from me. That's it from me. We will talk about other managers and stuff like that, but let's get Leicester out of the way. Let's get this done and dusted, and we'll take it from there. But yeah, for me, as far as I'm concerned, I feel like a lot of the pressure's been lifted now, because I don't care about any reports that come out saying he's safe. I think it's done. I think it's exciting times now. It's a shame for Moyes, but it's exciting for West Ham. We're going to go out and get a new manager that will finally get the best out of these fantastic players that we have assembled. And we're going to start watching some good football. That is where my mind is at now. We've just got to get through the next few games, and then we can all start dreaming and looking forward to our football again, because God knows I haven't been looking forward to any of our matches for the last fucking God knows how long. You know, even when we win, it's boring. But anyway, look, that's it. That's it from me. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Okay. John's back tomorrow to explain how he's changed his ways. John's finally jumped over to the other side of the fence. I promise I will never say I told you so to him. But it's not about I told you so. Like I said, some people are just... John's one of the ones that's more patient, and he's probably more sentimental things because of what he's done, as opposed to... John's never actually dug people out for having the opposite opinion. He's never done that. He's not one of them. You know, John respects other people's opinions. But there are others out there, many others, that don't, and they sneer at other people. Well, do you know what? I'm sneering right back at you lot now. All right, then? Come on, you irons.